Hi, everybody. My name is Christa of Practical Astros, and I'm here with Mandy Ray. Hi, Mandy.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. We are two of the astrologers for the Asteri Sofia Kairos, or Ask. We've been coming up with some catchphrases like "Ask for directions." That's really kind of what we use astrology for. But we are looking at the week of February 11th through the 18th and working backwards just because it's Aquarius season and we just do things in a weird Wednesday sort of way. But we're going to look at this week here, which there's some biggies, Saturn going into Aries for Valentine's Day, just for cuteness sake. That eclipse on the 17th, Sun, Uranus square. I think the best one probably is Mercury in Pisces, trine Jupiter in Cancer. But yeah. Yeah. What do you think about this week?
I think this is one of the pivotal weeks of all year. I think February 14th, it's hilarious to me that Saturn enters Aries on Valentine's Day. Aries is Mars ruled. Mars and Venus are kind of, when you look at love or passion or even sex, Mars and Venus are the two planets you focus on, So to have Mars come under some construction in its home sign is a funny thing to me. Should we look at the chart for that?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe we should. Yeah, why not? So I'll pull that up here.
Saturn went into Aries last fall, right? It was like late
Mhm.
summer, fall for a little while. So we've already had a little bit of a teaser of this, but this is fully into Aries now. So if you have Saturn in Pisces, as of Valentine's Day, your gift is to be done with whatever Saturn return you were in. Then
Mhm.
all the Saturn and Aries people hold on for this Saturn return.
That's right.
Saturn is also
So
co-present Neptune for this. So as we were recording, Neptune is in Aries as well.
it sure is. And I mean, Saturn and Aries in general to me is, it's the warrior getting some structure. It's like the general comes in and it's like, what have you been doing out here?
Mm,
We need to do better. But I think the co-presence of Neptune is almost like even the general can't figure it out right now, So and I do think it's something to be noted that Mars is in Saturn's sign and Saturn is in Mars's sign when this happens. So there's a lot of talking back and forth between the two. So
yeah.
Aquarius and Aries in your chart take on kind of a focal point. And I'm just realizing it says February 13th. Why did I think it was Valentine's Day?
It's the kind of overnight. So it is for UTC time, it is just overnight. And it's
That's
easier to
right.
remember. So Friday the 13th, Valentine's Day. It's Mars and the Sun, which are the rulers of Aries that are in Aquarius, and Aquarius ruled by Saturn. It's in Aries. So there is some connection here for sure. And with Neptune there, Neptune's going to be in Aries for a long time, like quite a while. And I heard Adam Ellenboss of Nightlight Astrology talk about this transit that really stuck out to me of with Aries, there's this impulse to like figure it out quick, just start it. And there's this joyful, childlike enthusiasm to just jump before you're ready. And Saturn is the antithesis of that, is like, I need things to prove longevity and that they're worthwhile. And there's boredom and time to sit in the hermitage that Saturn likes. So it's like this internal conflict between Saturn and Aries, just the transit alone. So I feel like it's going to be this awkward time to like want to have this warrior revolutionary change in your Aries sector of your chart. But what's required is tempering that enthusiasm and also picking up the pace that Saturn is used to going at. Saturn can go very slowly in Pisces, and we're okay with that, but we kind of don't accept it when it's in Aries. So I think that using that tension of opposites can be a motivator, which Aries is a motivating sign, and having the rulers of that being an Aquarius, like sending some good sextile rays over there. Anytime a planet is not at home or it's not in its place of exaltation, I just think of it as a bit scrappier. And so Saturn's going to work pretty hard here in Aries because it's exalted over in Libra. But whether we like it or not, this is what's happening. And so prepare for it
That's right.
for Valentine's Day. Um,
Yeah.
when does it go
And
into
then
Taurus?
that's exactly what I was looking at. April 12th, 2028. So we have a couple years
Yeah.
of this. And we already had a little bit, like you said. So it went into Aries May 24th, 2025,
Mhm.
and left around early September. And then here we are, February 13th, Friday the 13th, overnight. I guess it also, one of the other astrologers in Ask lives in Europe. So
Mhm.
it definitely is for her on Valentine's Day. But I do think with the moon opposing Jupiter, as Saturn enters Aries, it's going to be extremely palpable. I mean, the
Mhm,
feeling is there. The moon is in Saturn's sign, and it's already getting this expansion of feeling from Jupiter and Cancer. So I think it's going to just feel like it's moving into Aries.
mhm.
There's going to
Yeah.
be a physical or emotional body reaction to it, I think. So find where Aries is in your chart. For me, it's my 10th house. Yikes. I better get on the ball because it's under
And
reconstruction.
yeah, and you can definitely take initiative for Saturn in Aries. I mean, initiative is kind of an Aries coded word. I remember Aries is my 6th house, and so when I was entering into a 6th house perfection year, I was at first of like, okay, what am I going to do with this? And I started a body work practice. I started doing daily yoga. I just really got into it. And I think that you can take that initiative to come up with time frames, time parameters, time boundaries for yourself because Saturn is all about time.
Hmm.
And take the initiative to find what sort of boundaries you want to, what kind of demarcation line do you want to draw in your Aries sector of your house? Is it your first house of self? What are your personal boundaries of time? How much time do you spend doing things that you really don't care about? It's like the joy of the heart for Aries is like it's going to have enthusiasm if you give it the time channels to be able to kind of run rampant. So use it as a way to just create those limitations for yourself so that you can kind of make poetry within those boundaries. Boundaries don't have to just restrict. They can distill and fortify the ideas that we contain within them. So Neptune there, it's just going to make some fiery fog. We're so early into this. I think that it's too early to understand what Neptune and Aries is really going to be like. But
Hmm.
Saturn's going to go at a fairly quick pace for Saturn. 2 years, we're going to have Saturn going into Taurus. So what's your
Mm, and
2 year plan for that Aries part of your chart? Like what's your 2 year career plan? This is a great time
yeah.
to consider it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that with regards to boundaries, there's going to be a need to change our way of thinking with Saturn meeting Neptune there on
Mm,
what is good for us with regard to structure and boundaries, because there's a little bit of dissolution of boundaries with Saturn and Neptune, but it's to lay new ones, because it's going to
mm,
pass Neptune and go on to forge its own. I guess to build whatever it wants to build itself. So at the very beginning here, it is almost like a question mark of what does the future hold? What do I want to be doing right now? And what is appropriate action? Especially in the middle of all the delusion we feel. But yeah, 2 years, 2 years of it. So get ready. And then 2 days later, Sun square Uranus, which also has an element of change baked into it.
mhm.
So, with Saturn and Neptune so close, and then the Sun coming into square Uranus, it is a moment where it feels like things have to change. Something has to give, And
Yeah.
so this is February 15th, Central Time, 11 p.m. So again, it'll be the 16th for some people.
Yeah, and this is the last square between these two while they're in the fixed signs because Uranus is going into Gemini pretty quickly. And so they have squared a few times. When the sun was in Leo, when the sun was in Scorpio, it opposed it. But this 8 year transit that Uranus has had in Taurus, it has squared the sun many times. Uranus is famed for its instability, its surprise, its kind of come out of nowhere sort of action, and in fixed signs, that can be like feel more disruptive because fixed signs like to have that. It's like the steadiness, not necessarily balance, but a steadiness of expectation. And Uranus coming in there and challenging that soul line that the sun likes to set. The sun is constant. It is it's like our most fidelity rich planet, right? It's our
Mhm.
star around which we all orbit. It's like the one we count on. And so when there's like a disruption to that, it's like extra jarring because the sun is like our power source. The sun is what we look to for guidance. And when things challenge that, which a square is kind of a challenging aspect, it can be extra disruptive feeling. But it's part of like how we are able to readjust in North Carolina, and the Buddhist monks have been traveling from Texas to DC, and they went through my state in the past like couple weeks, and I went and saw them, and then I've just been reading about their teaching since, just because it's a really beautiful line of political action, peace, and stability, and just kind of the universal theme. And one of the teachings that kind of came adjacent to it wasn't specifically with these venerable monks, but a monk was teaching his students, say you're holding a cup of coffee and someone bumps into you, what happens? And the student's like, well, you spill your coffee. And he's like, yep. What if you were holding a cup of tea? It's like, that's what you would spill. If you were holding a cup of strawberries, that's what would spill. It's like whatever you're carrying around when the world jostles you, which is what happens during a Uranus square, that's what spills out. So it's like you choose to carry what you carry. And when the world moves around you and jostles you, that's what spills out. So we have the choice to choose what we carry in that Aquarius sun time because Uranus is going to come and jostle us. And what's going to spill out? Is it going to be generosity? Is it going to be reciprocity? Is it going to be grace, compassion, forgiveness? Or is it going to be annoyance or bitterness, cruelty? We have the choice of what we carry. And to me,
Mhm.
that's what the aspect of that square is. It really brings that teaching up. It's like, what do we choose to carry in our Aquarius house that our Taurus house is going to come and shake up again for the last time in Taurus for a while?
Yeah. And, just a little bit before it, Venus squared Uranus. And then after this moment, Mars is going to square Uranus. So the
Mhm.
jostling continues through that, I would say, at
That's
least
like the
through
name
Mars
of
square Uranus.
February's memoir is The Jostling Continues.
Oh, it's the truth. I think the one silver lining here is Venus is in Pisces, where it loves to be, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus. There is a little bit of North Node
Mm,
stuff baked into this as well, I think, with Venus being the ruler, sitting close to the North Node. So a question of direction or of future, I think, could be coming up here too. So
yeah, and not the next chart, but then the eclipse chart, Venus and the North Node are awfully close, and that's one of my favorite things about the eclipse moment is of how close Venus and the North Node are there.
and then, I mean, really close, and actually right after this is Mercury trine Jupiter, which is February 16th, 3:31 p.m. Central US time. And you see, we're almost at the new moon when Mercury trines Jupiter. But this is one of my favorite parts about the month, I think, is February 16th, because there is a synergy with Mercury in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer.
Mm,
I feel like where it rests on intuition rather than just knowledge, rather than data. Mercury in Pisces doesn't really
it's a
do,
vibe.
yeah, it's vibes, man. So the vibes are telling you something on this day. And it being so close to the new moon, a dark moon, this is a really good time to go inward, to write down some stuff, to maybe write your wishes and your dreams and your goals, and really think to the future, because I mean that's what Aquarius is for me anyway.
Mm,
And if we're going into this new moon in Aquarius, thinking about that, you can tap into those intuitive nudges from Mercury trine Jupiter, I feel like.
yeah. And Mercury exalts at the 15th degree in Virgo, so it's like exactly opposite of where it's exalted. And to me, it's like a on paper like a rock bottom place for Mercury to be. That's where it was Asia Suler that I listened to. She wrote An Anatomy of a Breakthrough, which was this like 2-hour little lecture. And she talked about when you come to an impasse, that's when you know that an insight is just around the corner. And that to me, it's like this Mercury, it's going to be going retrograde this month. So it's very slow. It is exiled and fallen at the very opposite end of the world where it does its best. So in that moment, this rock bottom moment, that's when you find that spiritual like none of this shit matters because this is what I'm here for. I don't need the data. I don't need the spreadsheet. I don't need a pivot table. I need soul and connection to other people and hope and poetry. To me, that is the beauty of Mercury Pisces is it finds the poetic run around away from all the straight data points. Mercury loves data. It likes to problem solve. But in Pisces, it is like otherworldly problem solving for bigger, less mundane reasons,
Yeah.
spiritual mission. So I think it's cute. I really like that. And then having that connection to Jupiter. Jupiter rules Pisces. Is that the moon's decan? No, in the traditional ruler, so it's Jupiter's decan is that 15th degree. And then the middle decan of Cancer is ruled by Mercury. In the traditional, the old school decans, they're in mutual reception by decan, which I think is
Mhm.
really cute. But the moon rules Cancer, Jupiter rules Pisces, and we're coming up the next day, we're going to have an eclipse at that new moon in Aquarius. So they're going to still be in that connected trine while the eclipse is happening, while Venus is even closer to that north node. So very big, big game-changing pivotal transits just for this 1 week. We've only talked about 6 days of the month so far.
That's right. And the new moon, the solar eclipse, is not only the Chinese New Year, right? This is the fire
Mhm.
horse year. Also, it's Fat Tuesday. It's Mardi Gras on that same day. And it just it feels big. And I think the reason is because the new moon is in Saturn's sign. Saturn and Neptune are at this point 15 minutes apart, if I have
Mm,
that right. And it's a story of those two things
mm,
specifically.
mhm.
And I feel like this is a whole new world territory. Like we get to a point, especially in Aquarius, where we're like, what are we doing? And I think
Why
with
are we doing? Yeah.
why and what and how and all of those questions come up at this new moon. And I think it's lucky that Mercury and Jupiter are in that connection during
Mhm.
that time. Because I mean, Mercury's going to go retrograde not too long after this, like a week or 10 days after this. So it's in the shadow. And so it's almost like, okay, you come in, you go, like let's just have an example, me and astrology, and I need to bring in more clients, and that is my future. I really want that for my future. And that also connects to the Saturn Neptune conjunction for me, right? But how?
Mm.
What do I
Mhm.
do? Well, Mercury is going to go retrograde and almost we rethink some things when Mercury's retrogrades. Even though this new moon is a starting point, it's not the point,
Mhm.
It is a
Yeah.
it is a point where we go, what seed am I planting right now? And this is really the first eclipse in Aquarius, and the North Node is in Pisces. So it's an out of sign eclipse where you still have the eclipse point being in Pisces, but the solar eclipse in Aquarius. So these questions are going to come up over and over. And this is a very important one, I feel like, for the Aquarius North Node when it does finally move into Aquarius. This solar eclipse is the kickoff point. So
Yeah.
I would definitely take a good hard look at what Aquarius occupies in your chart, what house it does, what planets are there, and where Saturn is in your chart, because both of those things are going to be highlighted during this time and the Aries part. Aquarius,
Yeah.
Aries, and where Saturn is.
And like with the new moon that was in Capricorn in January, it was at the late degrees of Capricorn. This one's at late degrees. And the new moon at the late degree, it's to me, it speaks to like what has led you up to this point. A new moon is a dark time. You plant the seed, you don't expect to, you know, harvest the fruit immediately, right? So you do a lot of this work that seems hidden, that seems like, you may not see any crescent shaped growth for a while. But for those late degree new moons, I consider all of the story that has led up to this point because it feels like that new moon dark energy of I'm not just planting a seed, I am shedding all that gets in the way of me planting the seed. I am really pouring out and letting, especially we're ending a snake year. The snake year it's a wood element year. And as the snake year sheds, all that stuff that we have shed in the wood
Mm,
snake year, those wood pieces, those wooden snake skins, then become the fuel for the fire horse going forward. So all that
yeah.
you shed doesn't mean that that you're walking away from it. You're going to burn it and you're going to use that as your motivation and your purifier and your fuel to go forward in the horse year. So
Mm,
it's important to recognize all the things that you were actually letting go, symbolically burning. I think symbolically burning on this day, it's what I'm going to do. I recommend many people do it, that you symbolically burn things that you have if you want to focus it on your Aquarius part of your chart. But what is it about the last year that you were happily ready to sacrifice in order to become the motivator to do something different for the horse year? And this moment
mm,
is like as an eclipse, even though it's out of sign, so it might be a bit more nuanced. It's no less potent as a new moon, though. And then the beautiful thing with Venus and the North Node, and then that trine with Mercury, Jupiter, it's like we have so many beautiful silver linings adjacent to the Aquarius house because Pisces can't see Aquarius because they're adjacent to each other. Cancer is averse to Aquarius. So there's a bunch of things happening around. And if you can't control those, just choose what you do control with your Aquarius house and what are you shedding to propel you forward in the next year. And
mm,
then the eclipse that's happening in August will be like there's a new moon in Leo that happens, I think it's August 12th. And to me, it's like another beautiful end of that last decan of Leo. Like this is the last decan of Aquarius. and then Jupiter and Mercury are together, you
Instead of
know?
trine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a pivotal week. That's something that is probably an understatement. But I mean, as far as well, the next day, I guess we don't need to end without saying the sun moves into Pisces, but
Mhm.
it does that every year. So I don't think that really needs a whole lot of talk.
Just
But
slips in every year.
yeah. So write these dates down. You can write,
Mhm.
if you're in the US, you can write the 13th for that. And if you're in Europe, you can write the 16th for that. So these dates they kind of float depending on where you are in the world, but we'll be back. We'll be back for the 18th through the 25th. It may not be me and Krista, maybe one of our other astrologers in Asteri Sofia Kairos. So go check us out on Substack, asterisofiakairos.substack.com, and like, share, and subscribe and all that goodiness.
Yeah, and let us know what your plans are for the eclipse or what you like to do during eclipses. Eclipses are nice, magical little moments, so I'm curious of what people do to celebrate them. But thanks for joining me this week, Mandy.
Thank you. We appreciate y'all.